Madame Poulin, I want to circle back to my last question to you. I set it up in terms of identifying various potential criminal charges that could be investigated. We've heard evidence directly from the source, Kristian Firth, who openly admitted to committee members that he actually altered, changed resumes without consent, without permission of the resume owners. That is a form of forgery. We've heard evidence of inflated invoices, again by GC Strategies. Subcontractors doing no work. We heard from the procurement ombudsman that 76% of subcontractors perform no work, yet we're still receiving government monies, taxpayer monies. Missing documents, several, probably thousands of pages of missing documents as identified by the Auditor General. In fact, her point is what's really concerning is what the audit does not reveal. And what it doesn't reveal is either, in my opinion, incompetence or corruption. Given all the red flags of criminality, of fraud, forgery, obstruction of justice, and breach of trust by government officials, have you made a referral to the RCMP based on all of the information you've heard to date?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. So as you mentioned, we are gathering all the information that are put in front of us. This includes what has been said in that committee. It includes the conclusion of the report from the Auditor General. It also includes what we have heard through OPO. We're gathering all that information and we are analyzing it right now. We need to see if the allegations are supported by other evidence.
That's not your job, ma'am. With all due respect, that is not your job. That is the job of our professional law enforcement officers. Your job is, if you have a suspicion of criminal wrongdoing, your job is to report that to the legal authorities. Clearly, you must have a suspicion of wrongdoing with respect to what's going on here in ArriveCan, yes or no?
We are doing analysis. And
do you have a suspicion, ma'am?
As soon as we will find evidence in our documents.
That's not your job, ma'am. Ma'am, that is not your job. You are not an agent of the RCMP. You are a public servant. I'll ask the question again. After everything that I've identified, everything that you have read in the AG's report, do you have a suspicion of wrongdoing, yes or no?
We have sufficient suspicion to
Thank you. I'll move on. Thank you. Now, to you, Mr. Mills, I asked this question yesterday to officials at PHAC. Again, you're speaking on behalf of your particular department. During the course of the implementation of the ArriveCan, the 177 different versions of ArriveCan, were there regular and consistent communications between the Deputy Minister and the Minister responsible for this portfolio? I've identified at least 3 ministers, Anita Anand, Philomena Tassi, and Alina Jazik. Were there regular and consistent communications between the DM and those ministers?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. During the first part of the pandemic, there were definitely regular communications between the Deputy Minister, senior officials, and the Minister regarding the Government of Canada's overall COVID response and procurements writ large in support of that response.
Were there regular and consistent communications with the PCO, the Privy Council Office?
There were regular interdepartmental meetings led by the PCO, again, discussing overall the kind of Government of Canada's response to COVID, right, and procurement.
And most likely the person at PCO you were speaking with would be the clerk of the Privy Council who reports to the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Is that correct?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. I would have to take back to what degree our deputies were involved in the interdepartmental. There were certainly a number of ADM level committees that were managed.
And for the Canadians out there watching this live or afterwards who are not familiar with the PCO, which minister is responsible for the PCO?
Thank you for the question. The Privy Council Office would ultimately report into the Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. Those are the questions I have.